All right, I've been told that I need to keep my head away from the flag so that you can see very clearly that it says pro America, anti Trump, not pro America, go Trump, or something like that. I wanted to talk very quickly, nice and quick, because it's nighttime, about something that I stumbled across reading a little bit about the rule of law in this country and its origins. So, specifically the grievances that colonists wrote into the Declaration of Independence, their grievances against King George III. Two that were most interesting to me when I read through them were for the king depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury and for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. So this government is absolutely engaged in both of those offenses. So if it were the colonists versus the King of England, you can put the Trump administration on the side of the King of England in this situation. Um, we are trampling all over the rule of law and trampling all over the entire concept of due process in this country. And the reason why that's important is because these were fundamental freedoms, fundamental to the concept of freedom to the colonists and to the country that they wanted to create, and the country that they wanted to create by violently breaking free from the monarchy. Now, the monarchy represents a much more autocratic, dictatorish form of government that this current administration is trying to implement. And this is the state of play. They are claiming that these people who have been sent to the Gulag, CCOT, in El Salvador are criminals, but they aren't allowing them any due process. And the reason why they're not allowing them due process is because they're criminals. So you see how we go through this merry-go-round of how do you know they're criminals? Where is the evidence? And they're not providing the evidence. But when you say that they're violating due process, they just say that you are a supporter of MS-13 and you want our country to be over. And we don't have a country anymore. If we can't deport people without due process, we don't have a country anymore. If we can't deport them to a foreign gulag, without due process, we don't have a country anymore. And if that's really the case, that's what they believe. Like, I don't want to live in that country. I want to live in the United States where due process is afforded to people. At least the British colonists were offered a sham trial by the crown when they were dragged overseas to England on trumped up charges. These people being sent to CCOT, every single one of them might be a member of MS-13, but also none of them might be members of MS-13. The reason why I can say both of those things with great confidence is because we don't know, because the government won't tell us. They're photoshopping pictures of tattoos on people's hands, and they're sending Stephen Miller on a tweeting crusade, sounding like the biggest bitch I've ever seen, crying about how we don't have a country anymore because I can't deport all the brown people that I want. The reason why he's so upset is because he implemented a quota, publicly a quota, for how many people he was going to deport. 1 million. And their rush to deport 1 million people means that they can't get bogged down in court proceedings. They can't get bogged down by following the law, even when the law has been upheld by the Supreme Court, a court which, incidentally, is dominated by conservatives and dominated by Trump appointed judges. Welcome to the resistance, apparently, Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett. I mean, she's already been in the resistance for a little while now. But the reason why we need to make a stand on this issue and why I'm going to keep talking about this, keep writing about it, keep talking about it, and hammering it home is because they can lie all they want. They can have their lackeys out, members of the administration, Caroline Levitt, Tim Pool in the White House briefing room for some reason, their social media influencers, their MAGA podcasters, and even, honestly, very shameful, members of Congress just debasing themselves by arguing against the rule of law in this country. They can drag all of them out and they can make stuff up all the live long day. But the fact of the matter is, if they can deport people who were in this country without any due process, without presenting any evidence to a court, that means that they can deport people or render people who are citizens. They can deport you. They can deport me. They can deport anyone because they can just say that you're a criminal. You're an MS-13. My last name's DeFeo. That sounds Spanish. It's not. It sounds Spanish. MS-13 is from Latin America. They speak Spanish in Latin America. DeFeo is an MS-13 supporter. Get him out of here. Where's the evidence? Nope, we don't do that. He's just in El Salvador in the gulag. I'm sorry, we can't get him. Supreme Court says we have to go get him. I'm not going to do it. That's what they are now legally arguing that they can do. And that's the danger that we face. Oh, flag came down. How embarrassing. This is what happens when you shove it into a closet. Anywho, the point is, if they can do this to them, they can do it to anyone. And we have to beat this drum that they are not going to get away with it. And we are not going to allow this country, which was formed by violently revolting against the king for two specific reasons of violating trials by jury and for rendering people overseas to overseas prisons, the exact same thing that this president is doing. We are not going to let them get away with that because patriots don't let people get away with that. Americans don't let people get away with that. And I know that they love to say that they are patriots and that they love this country. But if they love this country, they would not be doing what they are doing. So let's keep banging the drum. Let's keep writing. Let's keep getting in the streets. Keep doing whatever this is that you and me are doing together. And let's make sure that we're going to hold them accountable. Hold them accountable now. Hold them accountable in 2026. I can't believe this thing fell down. I'm not re-recording one of these.